Hey everyone, I'm your host, Emily Lauren. Welcome to the Body Positive Podcast, where we ditch diets, normalize real bodies, and help you feel better in your own skin. Welcome everyone to the Body Positive Podcast Show. Today's episode is featuring Jeanette DePatie, who is the founder of Everybody Can Exercise, where she teaches fitness and body acceptance. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So you have a very interesting background. I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
Sure. I mean, how far back do you want me to go? Do you want me to go back to like the dinosaur days or?
Well, I heard you were an opera performer and you rap. So I want to hear a little bit about that.
In college, I got a master's degree in opera performance, which was awesome and a lot of fun. But I discovered that I really liked to eat every day, so I figured maybe I better find a career that was a little more lucrative. So at that point, I started getting into the tech space and co-founded a software company.
Amazing. Wow. So how did you get into fitness then?
So I've always loved fitness, particularly dance. I mean, dance is my jam. And for a long time, I thought that only people who looked like, supermodels could teach fitness, that like average-looking normal people or fat people couldn't teach fitness. But, I went through a revolution in my life where I just decided I wasn't going to wait around for the perfect body anymore. I was going to just pretend like my body was already perfect and just go do the things that I always wanted to do. So I got certified as a fitness teacher, and I met this very wonderful fat teacher at the YWCA, and she mentored me along, and it was a wonderful thing, wonderful experience.
So what exactly did you do to sort of really change your perspective on not striving for that perfect body?
Well, it's funny because at one point I went to the library and I was looking for another diet book. The perfect one that was going to make me super skinny forever. And I accidentally brought home a book that was an expose on the diet and fitness industries. And I just started really digging into the research, and I was like, hardly anybody looks like that. And the people who do look like that, like supermodels, don't stay looking like that for very long. And so maybe this isn't a reasonable goal for me. Maybe I should just love the body I have. And, a lot of the statistics about having to be super thin to be healthy, I also started to dig into that research and found that a lot of that research wasn't true, that in order to be healthy, you need to eat well and you need to move your body. You need to get regular sleep and manage your stress. And, the size of your body while you do all of that stuff is really not the important thing.
Yeah, it's irrelevant, right?
Pretty much. I mean,
so you go by.
Yeah. And, I had a lot of people saying, you're going to be sick. And because I focused on healthy behavior instead of a healthy, pant size, so far, I've been pretty fortunate and my body has worked pretty well for me.
I love that. That was such a happy accident that you brought that book home. So you go by the Fat Chick. Tell me about why you chose that name.
Well, it's interesting because once I moved out of just teaching fitness, in small groups and started creating a website and a DVD and all of this stuff, I thought, oh my God, if I just put that out there and I don't say anything about it, people are going to be like, do you know you're fat? And I'm like, okay, look, it's in the title of the DVD, it's in the title of the book, it's in the title of the website. I know that already, so we don't have to talk about that. Let's move on. So, and it also was about the idea that I'm not really ashamed of being fat, of my body size. And so I really wanted to take that word back. I'm also short. I'm also brunette. I'm also hazel-eyed. I'm also, American. I'm a lot of different things, and fat is just one of them.
I love that perspective. And I think it's really important that we really destigmatize the word fat because people see it as being such an evil or bad thing. And like you said, it's just a characteristic. It's just a description. And that's all that it should be. And that's all the significance it should hold.
Right.
So for you, what do you think the goal of exercising should be?
Have fun. That's number one, right? Because you want to exercise not just one day. You want to exercise over and over and over again. And if you want to stick to exercise, it has to be fun, or if it sucks, you're just not going to do it again. So like exercising once a year or once a decade is not so helpful, really. So you want it to be fun and you want it to be safe. Right? You don't want to try and run 20 miles on your first day or do 3 hours of cardio. The weekend warrior thing. I haven't done anything, and this weekend I climbed a mountain. That's kind of a recipe for disaster. And getting hurt is one of the things that's really going to back you up in terms of your fitness efforts. So have fun, be safe, and, do what your body wants to do on that day. Some days your body might want to exercise for an hour, and some days your body might want to exercise for 10 minutes. Now, I'm not talking about the getting out of bed part, right? Because most of us really don't want to get out of bed in the morning. But I mean, once you get there, you get your exercise gear on and you get started. Most of the time your body will tell you, hey, I'm up for this much exercise, or hey, this is rocking and rolling. And then your body will say, that's about enough. Or I can push a little further, but that's it. And so it just
so really listen to your body.
Listen to your body. Our bodies are so smart. They know so much about how to take care of themselves. And a lot of the problems that we have with our bodies is because we override that communication from our bodies to us.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people think that exercise needs to be painful, the no pain, no gain type of feeling. And I've been doing a lot of yoga lately because I haven't been able to do sports with the lockdowns and things like that. And I'm finding that even though it's not quite as intense, it still makes me feel good to move my body in different ways. And I think that's really important that people realize it's not just about, the painful, the feeling sore in the morning. It can be about just moving your body in ways that stretch it out.
That's true. Good. And I think, again, this is where we have to learn our body's pain language, right? Because our body will talk to us in various ways. Like if you haven't worked out in a week and you do a medium workout, the next morning you're going to feel a little stiff. You might have a little bit of that delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS. That's normal, right? And I think a lot of us think, well, that's pain, that's bad. Well, no, a certain amount of stiffness is going to happen if you're stretching, if you're using the overload principle and getting a little bit stronger. Soreness is not the same as acute pain. It's not the same as I can't walk. It's not the same as that Frankenstein thing you do, when you can't bend your arms and your legs the next day, or you feel like you need to
right, sit on the toilet
for like 4 hours. That's your body saying, whoa, dude, that was too much. And especially when you get very specific kind of pain like my left knee or my right elbow, that's usually not soreness. That means something in your workout or your body isn't quite balanced. And that's telling you, hey, pay attention to this thing. Find out what you're doing in your exercise, whether it's overuse or improper form, that's making that thing hurt. And, one of the really challenging things about the idea of pain in exercise is that I work with a lot of people who are in chronic pain. And so paradoxically, exercise hurts a little bit more when you do it than not exercising. But overall, most people find their pain level is better if they're exercising at a rate that's appropriate for them. So, that question of no pain, no gain, it's not really as simple as it should never hurt or it should hurt all the time. You have to learn your body's love language and say, okay, baby, we're going to bed now. Or, hey, I think you could do 2 more sets. But your body will tell you, like I said.
That's good to know. That's a great way to put it. So clearly people think that thin bodies are significant indicator of what health is. What are some of the ways that we can challenge this kind of thinking? What are some of the ways that we can break down these ideas around what health is?
It's difficult because there's a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to make us feel very insecure about the way we look, right? And that industry has found tying thinness to health very profitable because people panic and they spend a lot of money on things trying to be thin. So one thing we have to do is we have to understand the source, right? And you have to understand that a lot of, doctors are just people and researchers are just people. So sometimes there's bias in the research, and sometimes there's bias by the doctors. So you have to look at everything with a critical eye. Now, there's some really good studies out there. Lindo Bacon has done some wonderful work, and there's a number of other researchers out there, Lucy F. Moore, that have compiled a lot of studies that can help you understand these things. So knowing the research, understanding the research is part of the thing. But, the most important thing on the simplest level is you just cannot tell how healthy a person is by looking at them. You just can't. 99% of the time, you don't know what their blood sugar levels are. You don't know what their blood pressure is. You don't know what their health indicators are. You just don't know.
And those are the things that are going to paint the proper picture of what your health is. And at the end of the day, too, I think it's important to note that health is not indicative of your value or worth in society as well, because I think a lot of times we equate those
Yes,
things.
I think that's very true. And I think there is a lot of moralism around health. But it's important to understand that health is not a condition, it's a spectrum, right? There's no such thing as health where you're in perfect health. Like, that phrase exists, but that condition doesn't exist, right? We're all in some place on that spectrum. And so what's important is understanding, well, here's where I am on the spectrum now. I would like to stay here, or I'd like to go a little further towards this direction on the spectrum. Or I'm getting older, I'd just like to not go too far that direction on the spectrum, right? But it's a spectrum. And, there is no magical place that you're going to get where you're going to say, oh, well, I'm healthy, I'm immortal, I'm never going to die. It doesn't happen, right? We want it to happen. Right. We want it to happen.
Yeah,
we want to believe,
human.
hey, if I do these 5 things, I'll never die. Unfortunately, that is not the case.
Yeah, great perspective on that. So in your videos and DVDs, you feature a variety of body types and age groups. Why is it important to see real bodies doing these kinds of movements?
I think it's really important because I think a lot of people, myself included, have grown up with the idea that this is what an exerciser looks like. This is what a body looks like after it's exercised, or this is what a body should look like before you start exercising. And I think if people identify, no, that person's an exerciser and they look completely different from this other person that's an exerciser, they'll understand health is a spectrum and fitness is also a spectrum. You don't have to be Michael Phelps. You really don't. You probably want to be able to get up and turn the channel on the TV. You don't necessarily, need to just eat cheesy poops and sit with the remote all the time. But there's an in-between place where rational, normal people get to live. And that's why I try to show a lot of different ages and races and abilities and body types, because all of those people are exercisers.
Absolutely. I think it will influence people to wanting to get active, because I think a lot of the research I've read talks about how these stigmas and the discrimination of certain bodies can actually influence people not wanting to be active, and that leads to certain health issues, as opposed to there being actual links to your appearance and health issues. It's more the stigma of those issues that is the problem.
Here's the thing. Both inactivity and shame are bad for your body, both of them. And shame is more likely to lead to inactivity. So if you shame someone trying to get them to be active, it's like a double whammy. It's like you're hitting their health twice. And it just isn't an effective technique for getting people to start moving their bodies. What is effective is getting them something fun, getting them something where there's a community of people that are going to support them, and really consciously working to create a shame-free environment where people feel comfortable doing what their body wants to do on that day, right? So I feel like as a teacher, if I look at my class and everybody looks exactly the same, I'm probably failing as a teacher. I'm probably not creating an environment that allows them to rock their body the way their body wants to be rocked, because everybody's different. So I really put a lot of energy and attention into that idea that standing and sitting are equally awesome. You know, you can do a great workout in a chair, and there's no shame in that. And even if you did a standing workout yesterday, maybe today you're going to do a sitting workout. Or if you did a sitting workout yesterday, you might be ready to progress to a standing workout. It doesn't matter. You know what your body wants to do. Do that.
Yes. And what would you say to someone who's perhaps embarrassed about participating in activities because of how they look? How can you encourage them to go for it?
First of all, I sympathize with you. I feel you. It's hard, right? And I would really encourage you to spend the time to find a safe environment to exercise in. And I'm talking about emotionally safe as well as physically safe. One great technique is to just say, hey, I want to watch a class, and don't join in, right? If you go to that class and you say, I'm going to take the class, and 5 minutes in you find out that the teacher is a fat phobic jerk, you got 55 more minutes of that to endure, or you have to face the embarrassment of walking out of the class. If you're sitting and you just say, hey, I want to watch for a few minutes, if you're 5 minutes in and that teacher sucks, guess what? Bye-bye. You're gone. No harm, no foul. So I really encourage people to
smart thinking.
Try before you buy. And, the worst thing you could do is feel like, oh, I can't leave this class. I have to do this, and then get hurt because you're trying to do something that's not right for your body. So, yeah, it's really a great idea. Have friends recommend things. Ask your teacher, hey, do you subscribe to Health at Every Size? If they have no idea what that is, then probably not.
Get out of there.
I mean, maybe, but probably not. And there's no shame in asking anybody, whether it's a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or anybody, hey, do you have problems with fat people? Because I don't want to be fat shamed, and I don't want to waste your time or mine. So if that's the approach you're going to take, let me just go and find somebody else. We'll both be happier,
Absolutely. Now, what about people who are interested in fitness purely from like a weight loss standpoint? How can we switch the narrative? Is it a bad thing to approach fitness from that aspect, or what do you suggest?
Well, here's the thing that I tell people about losing weight and fitness. Some people exercise and they lose a little bit of weight. Some people exercise and they gain a little bit of weight. The problem is having unrealistic expectations, right? And I tell them, if you come into fitness with that before-after mentality, and you're, 15 or 16 weeks on the Angelina Jolie program, and you're still at Angela Lansbury, you're going to get mad. You're going to quit. And that's not where we want to end up. So setting reasonable expectations for the changes in your body is one thing, and really being clear that maybe weight loss is not that likely. Certainly not major, massive amounts of weight loss are not that likely, but there are literally 50 or 70 other things that exercise consistently does for almost everybody who takes it on. So focus on the things that you will get instead of expecting something you're probably not going to get.
I love that. I love that. Please tell us how people can learn more about your programs and where
you can find me at thefatchick.com or everybodycanexercise.com. They both go to the same place. I'm on Twitter, Fat Chick Sings, and Instagram and Facebook and all the things. So probably the website's the fastest and easiest place to find me. But I also rock and roll Fit Fatties with my friend Reagan Chastain, and we have about 10,000 people in that Facebook group. So feel free to join that, and I can't wait to work out with you.
That sounds great. And lastly, if you could offer one tip to our listeners, what would that be?
Find your fun in fitness. Take the time to find something you don't hate. That's mission critical.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today. I'm so happy that we connected, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thanks so much, Emily.
Once again, thanks for listening to today's episode. Make sure you follow us at Real Happy Daughter, and please share this with someone who needs a little more real in their life.